right. Good evening to everybody. 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Um, Central Time is 8 o'clock, and somewhere in Europe and Africa, it's a new day. Hello, everybody. Everybody doing good. And as you all come in for the ladies, asking everybody to invite and share. Invite and share. Like I'm about to do, invite and share. Let's get some people in here. This is part 2 of the ladies edition of When the Right One Comes. I'm your host, Bishop Greg Davis, and we are, everybody that's coming in, just tell us where you're from and who you are, 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 and invite and share. It's come on in. 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 All right. Hello, Dawn Hudson, Maryland. Teresa Bryant, Virginia. Christopher. Christopher, you don't miss a beat. I love it, man. Appreciate you so much. You came to see what the ladies gonna say. Invite and share. Everybody invite and share at least twice. Invite and share. It's gonna be a good night. Invite and share. We're gonna learn some things from the ladies tonight. They quiet tonight too.
We're waiting for you to give us the green light to speak, sir.
We're practicing the art of submission.
When y'all wait, when y'all didn't wait before.
Well, since you gave us the green light, hey guys.
Hey y'all.
Hello, everyone.
Hey,
Hello.
everyone.
Good in the hood.
And there you have the green light.
The floodgates have opened. Everybody, Miss House. Everybody, welcome the ladies to When the Right One Comes. Everybody, welcome the ladies. Welcome the ladies. Welcome the ladies.
The ladies are here. The ladies are here. Let everyone know the ladies are here.
Make sure you spread the wealth. Let your friends, neighbors, and relatives, even your enemies, can be blessed tonight. Go ahead, spread that wealth.
Yeah.
Exuma, the Bahamas, man.
The Bahamas. Trinidad was in the building.
The Bahamas. Y'all invite and share. Invite and share. Let's get some more people in. All right, let's invite and share for the ladies. Hey, Jacqueline, how are you? Share and share alike, everybody. Be nice tonight, ladies. Christopher, you're going to get in trouble.
Oh, what we mean last time?
That's Christopher. Christopher is...
Hey, Claiborne.
Hey, Claiborne.
Hey, Claiborne.
Claiborne with you. Hey, Coffee.
Ah, there it goes.
Right?
The hey, Coffee. Hey, Nikki.
It's Nikki McAllister, the 1L. I love it.
Hey, Apostle Jenkins.
Hey, Apostle.
So,
Glad to have you, man of God. Bishop. Oh, I thought they were all guys. Invite.
we just want you.
All right, Candace, that's
Hey,
hey.
I'm in the
Hey,
Hey, everybody.
Hello. Hey, Dwayne.
Dwayne.
Hi, Dwayne. Hey, husband.
Hey,
You got all these clubhouse marriages.
My clubhouse husband. You know, clubhouse, you can be anyone and do anything you want to do. This clubhouse.
Listen, that part.
Yes, lovely clubhouse marriages.
Hey, mommy. I see you in the
Aw.
comments. Wherever I am, there she will be also.
I love it. So, hello, Dr. Nick. Love you.
Aww.
Let's
Kind of sorry, stop calling me Dr. Nick. Like, Mom,
Beatrice. Oh,
All right, people, invite and share. I'm not going to start until we got 78 people on all platforms. So continue to invite and share. We need to get to 100. The ladies are worthy of the 100.
Yes.
Let's go.
yes.
spread that wealth.
family.
Wealth. Yes.
Here, dear.
Hey, Broderick.
Hey, Broderick.
Look at the men being supportive.
Hey, Broderick. What's good?
Hey now. We just want you. Just want you.
All right, need about 19 more people in here. Y'all share. We want to see. Man away. What's going on, man? You came to learn women what they want? Hey, Danielle.
We just want you.
Raquel.
Hey, Raquel.
Hi, Raquel.
Dwayne says, coffee, are you at the church?
Oh, the church.
Coffee, are you at the church?
Because she got the banner up.
No,
She said, oh, you want to know who I am. Let the record show I am P. Coffee Brown.
I'm actually in my office. I'm in my home office, so.
It's the Office Ministries.
Right?
Rachel has the intellectual look tonight.
She does. Looking dainty and gorgeous.
Hey, Chastity.
Chastity.
Jay Chastity.
All right, about 6 more people and we gonna get started. By 8 more people, we're gonna get started, y'all. Have a few questions for the ladies tonight.
Oh.
We have a few answers.
Yes, I need.
Chris, my
We
God.
have a few answers.
Spicy.
All right, we at 100.
Yes. She said, I got an answer.
We
You
have
got questions, I've got answers.
Like,
At the
Well,
show.
won't he do it? She
All
said,
the time. All the time.
well,
And listen, Bishop doesn't have a delay this time. Oh, we
I know.
cooking with
No,
grease.
no delay.
Listen.
No delay. No delay. I'm hot wired. I'm ready. No delay.
Okay, how
Oh,
he on the travel mode. He's hot.
me, my God.
no delay. Now in Detroit, he's getting ready to turn up. Y'all ladies, come on,
Right.
let's take it up a notch.
Nobody gonna be
We're
in the
ready.
song tonight. My God.
Michael Claiborne, you see my butterflies? I wore them just for you, love, because I knew that the people were coming to see my
Yes.
I love it. It's
Do
so
you guys
cute.
like the butterflies?
It's so cute.
Thank
Oh,
you.
God.
Because we are evolving. We
Merry
are
Christmas.
growing.
Hallelujah said Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year.
Right. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
All right, we're gonna get started. Tonight is part 2 of the ladies. We had such hiccups last time with my social media. I mean, my internet. I was in Miami and the storms was raging and yeah. Anyway, I'm somewhere where I got good, so I can focus. We're back again for round 2 to ask the ladies a few questions. We're gonna be about an hour and a half tonight. And Shira's having internet problems. Hopefully she gets on. But the ladies are here tonight. Actually, she's coming in now. There she
There
is.
she is. Miss Lowe.
Hey.
Hello.
Yes. Hi,
Hey.
you guys. There's a windstorm here. So sorry about that.
Windstorm. Oh, wow.
Just bring all of your blow.
I know, right?
Blow.
There it is.
Dr. Nick, could you introduce the ladies, please, tonight?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone, and welcome to When the Right One Comes, the ladies edition. We are so excited to be here today for part 2 of the Clubhouse Ladies edition. Of course, we have other ladies who are a part of the When the Right One Comes team, but tonight we have some of our single ladies. So we're going to go ahead and start with the order that we are in. Of course, we're going to start, although he didn't ask me to, I am going to introduce the host, the one, the only, noteworthy, amazing, phenomenal, and might I add, handsome Bishop Greg Davis. Come on, let's give it up for him. Let's give it up for him. He's amazing, and he won't tell you, but we will. He's absolutely phenomenal, and he has so many books that he has written. Currently, he is taking pre-orders for the do's and don'ts of dating. So you definitely want to go ahead and cop that. He has a Go With God t-shirt line, sweatshirt line. You want to go ahead and get that. He is also a preacher, of course, an author. He is a mentor. If you are looking for a life coach, he has you there. Of course, he is a pastor, and he is the founder of the Young Preacher Movement. So much more you can find out about him. But we are loving on him tonight because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be here. So give it up for Bishop Greg Davis. Up next, we have Coach P. Coffee Brown. She is all things classy and sassy, and you can trust and believe that she's going to chime in and let you know what you just said with at ministries at the end of all of it. Yes. Also is an author. She has her own boutique. She goes live on Instagram and on Facebook. As you can see, she's wearing items from her boutique on tonight, as we say in the church. On tonight, she has on items from her boutique. So check her out here on Facebook, also on Instagram, and connect. She is a ball of fire and a breath of fresh air, and we love her. Up next is Rachel Yvonne. She is the biblical femininity coach, correct? Okay. And she is from London, England, but we have her over in the States, and we are absolutely happy to have her. If you want to know about being feminine, if you want to be coached to your next level, if you're looking for a songstress, if you're looking for a minister, someone to preach, also she is coaching. So go ahead and give her a follow on all social media. You'll be glad that you did. Give it up for Rachel Yvonne, the beautiful Rachel Yvonne, the beautiful P. Coffee Brown. Up next, we have Dr. Eve Moore. She is the founder of Evolution Enterprises, and she's doing so many great things. She has also master classes. She has several rooms on Clubhouse. She's on Clubhouse every single day. She's going to get you straight, and she's going to teach you how to be a wife, because you already are. She's going to get you down that aisle and help you stay married. Also, she has an upcoming master class that you definitely want to check out about sex and love. So connect with her here on Facebook, Clubhouse, and Instagram. Give it up for the beautiful Dr. Eve Moore. And guys, please know I'm going off the top of my head. I don't have your scripts in front of me. Up next, we have the beautiful Angelica Williams. She is the Clubhouse flight attendant. She is the growth coach. She is an Amazon best-selling author, and she has her own boutique. So check her out. She's also an evangelist. She is a mother. She is a fashionista. She is our little model here on When the Right One Comes, and we love her so very much, guys. Give it up for the beautiful Angelica Williams. Up next, we have the beautiful, the one and only Anisha Sharp. She is the co-host of When the Right One Comes, and she is an author. She is also the founder of the Esther Academy. She also helps you to be able to birth your book. As Bishop David says, if you have a book in your belly and you're trying to get it out and you want to get it from your head to some paper, to some books, to some cash in your pocket, she's your girl. She's also an evangelist, a prophetess, a relationship coach. She's absolutely beautiful, and we love her. So give it up for the one and only beautiful Anisha Sharp. Up next, we have Miss Candace Parker. She says she doesn't like to talk about herself, but we do in a good way. And she is a content creator, and she is newly hired with Ebony Magazine, and let's give her a huge shout out for that. Yes, yes, yes. We rejoice with those who rejoice. She does so many great things. She also has a club on Clubhouse, The Christian View. She does so many great things. And if you want to be connected to someone great who's going to greater heights, connect with Candace Parker. She's here on Facebook, also on Clubhouse, also on Instagram. She's a straight shooter, but she'll give you a shot with a smile on her face. Give it up for Candace Parker. Up next, we have the beautiful Shira Lowe, California Love. We love her. She, as she says, she is a strong six-figure earner, and we absolutely love that. She is in the healthcare field. She's also a minister. She is an upcoming author. She has a club on Clubhouse on Thursday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and that's 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. She does so much. She's also a coach. So if you want to get to the next level with personal development, also relationships, and any other aspect, talk to Shira Lowe. And if anyone can make you feel great about yourself, not good, but great, that is the one and only and beautiful Shira Lowe. Give it up for Shira Lowe. And last but not least, me, Dr. Nick. I am the Clubhouse room administrator for When the Right One Comes. I'm in Atlantic City, New Jersey. I am the CEO and founder of Greatness in You Incorporated. I am a life coach, a mentor, an author, a motivational speaker, a ministry and business consultant. I am vegan for the animals, a special needs educator and associate pastor, and so much more. Check me out, and you can find out more about how I can take you from being just single to successfully single, if that is your choice. All right, Bishop, I think I've done a pretty good job introducing our ladies, so I'm going to kick it back to you. You're muted.
We can't hear you, Bishop. You're muted.
Thank you, Dr. Nick, and ladies, thank you for being here again. I know Coffee canceled her room tonight for this, and I know you all have other things going on, so I appreciate you all being back with me. So I believe you all have heard me say this: relationships are lessons. Relationships are lessons. That's what I believe. What lessons have you learned from past relationships? What lessons have you all learned? I'm sure all of you have learned different lessons. And I ask that because there are other ladies here that you all can help, because you all are great leaders and coaches and various leaders, as they just heard. So what lessons have you all learned from past relationships?
I'll jump in. I'll go ahead and jump in there. That's a very big question. I was thinking about it as you were asking. And gosh, it's bad.
Hold on. Leave yourself out of it. Not what you learned about you. Just overall.
What I've learned about men.
No, men and just the whole relationship thing. Just kind of keep it there for now.
Okay.
Go to the other one after.
Okay, good question. So, what I've learned about relationships overall is it is something that we are going to do the rest of our lives. And I think that it is important that we learn to master this area. I think oftentimes we spend a lot of time mastering careers and, all the amazing things that bring us money, and it's very important. But relationships, I believe, are amazingly important. And so mastering that is important. So I do thank you, Bishop, for this opportunity in rooms like this. This is a room. The live that we're doing, the broadcast we're doing tonight, and the rooms that we do on Clubhouse, master's classes, and just what you're doing with this, because it is something that we will need to master. So if I had to take away one lesson from all my past, I haven't had a lot, but my past relationships, I think just wanting to really master them, wanting to be successful at it, and then wanting to help other people in that same space. I have a true passion for really seeing people do well in relationship and see people win in relationships. So I think if that would be the lesson I would take, if you're asking for an overall lesson, it's just the importance of relationships and mastering them.
Ladies, if you would mute your mics until you talk, because we're getting a little feedback. So lessons that you have learned from dating and relationships overall. Anybody else can go?
I'll jump in. Something that I've learned from dating and relationships, including marriages, plural, is that every relationship, every experience is not the same. And you can expect what the last person did to do the same in your current relationship. And I've learned that I shouldn't have the expectation for my new person to pick up where the last person left off. And I definitely can't have the expectation of someone to read my mind. Communication is so important. And I'm usually the type where I want you to learn me and study me. But there's some things that come better and best by communication and actually saying, this is what I want. This is how I am. This is how I like my space. This is how I like to watch CNN. So these are certain things that I like, and I need to be able to communicate that and not expect the person to read my mind. And then later down the line, wonder how come it didn't work out the way I wanted it to? Well, I didn't express that, and I expected them to be able to read me, and that's not fair. So that's something that I definitely learned. All relationships are not the same. I shouldn't expect the last person to pick up with my current person to pick up from the last person. And communication, intentional communication with the purpose is vitally important.
So did you think at some point that all relationships were the same? Did you have to learn that?
I had to learn that, Bishop, because I guess I felt like I'm a woman and this is my role and this is how I function. And as a man, this is how you're supposed to function. Not really, taking into account that we all have different background experiences, which make us function the way we do, not just in relationships, male-female relationships, but all together. So I can't expect someone to come, acting a certain way. If he didn't have a certain background, if he didn't have a certain experience, I can't expect you to come knowing about what it means to be a husband and being a husband if you've never really been a husband. I've been married before. So if I get with someone and he's never been married before, I can't expect for him to absolutely know that the marriage really does start after the reception and the two become one, which means that is a process, not as soon as we say I do. So I think that in the past, I just had this assumption that you're supposed to know, but everyone doesn't have the same structure of lifestyle, the same background experiences, and the same exposure. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that.
Okay. Who wants to go next?
Hey, Bishop, this is a great question about what we've learned from prior relationships. I actually wrote a book as a result of it. It's called The Race to the Ring, The 7 C's of a Successful Courtship. But the great part about the book that I wrote, it also encompasses all of the building blocks as it pertains to relating. So it's connection, commitment, consistency, contentment. All of those great things are the building blocks that I've personally learned from relationships. And I wanted to be able to add value to others by producing something that they could use as a hands-on tool to be able to help them as it pertains to the space of learning how to have great relationships overall, not just with, like Dr. Nick said, not just in the space of romantic, but in platonic, but in professional, all those things. I've also learned how to respect people's love languages. What they say speaks volumes to them is what's important. It's not about you as it pertains to a relationship. It's about how you add value to the other individual. When you learn how to add value to that other person, the law of reciprocity is an amazing thing, how it kicks in, and those blessings end up coming back to you. So even in that, even if it fails or whatever, there were still some blessings even in the lessons that you learned about relationships. But a main building block that I always go by, I live by this mantra, is you have to learn them to earn them. You got to constantly remember that we're a student of the person that we're connected to, and we have to remain as such. We cannot take off our student hat and think we've mastered anything when it comes to relationships, because there's no such thing as mastery when it comes to relationship. There's a such thing as growth. There's a such thing as evolution, but you will never master a relationship. If you keep your running shoes on, you'll always be able to be a value adder. We cannot get complacent. We have got to keep our running shoes on so that we can contemplate and consider how we're going to continue to add value.
It's the running shoes for me.
Good answers. I hope people are taking notes. Okay, who wants to go next?
Hey, Bishop, it's Eve.
Good.
So some of what I learned is to be in love, but remain logical, right? Don't jump in heart first. Keep your brain, please. There were times where I know for sure many of us jumped in heart first. We were super infatuated and thought that was the love of our life. We were going to be swept off of our feet. Well, we lost our brain somewhere along the way. And so if any advice that I could give from my own personal experience is to not jump in heart first. Be in love, but remain logical. And then the next thing that I would say is don't lead with your purse. This lady told me years and years ago, she says, you got to learn how to pivot. If a man wants to take you to McDonald's, whether or not you feel like that's on your level or not, you go where he wants to go. Allow a man to lead. That would be another thing that I've learned. And then last but not least, be patient. Rome was not built overnight, and neither are relationships. Some of the best and the better relationships are built over time and through great friendship. And so those are the three things that I would like to add.
So I often say, Dr. Eve, that you should love and guard your heart at the same time. Is that possible?
I believe so. I believe so. There is, and I don't want to go too far into scripture, but there's a scripture, one of my favorite, that says, the heart is deceitful. Who can know it? And sometimes our heart will deceive us into believing things are what they really aren't. And especially if you are a nurturer like myself, if you are a natural lover like myself, you can go in loving beyond measure, but the other individual may not feel the same way. So for those who are a little more sensitive and are passionate lovers, tame some of that passion sometimes. It's okay to love, but it's also okay to tame. I think it was Joe who says all the time, he says, don't give it all to me at one time. Give a little bit at a time. Make them want you even more. And so those are my thoughts.
Okay, anybody else?
Bishop, I can chime in right here. I would say what I'm learning, in especially in the dating and relationship space, I'm learning to really allow not only love to evolve, but also allow wisdom and knowledge concerning the person and concerning the relationship to evolve. I believe that a lot of times we want instant gratification. We live in a microwave society where individuals are so instant and they want things right now and they want things immediate. But relationships are not only they not only evolve with time, but also they are reciprocal. And so it has to be where we have to make a determination where we are going to allow the relationship to evolve at a pace in which we are learning and growing in wisdom and knowledge of one another, and not only one another in terms of our behaviors, but also our character. You know, character changes over time. I tell people all the time, it's not that individuals are going to come into relationships immediately heal, whole, complete. There is an evolution that occurs in actual relationships. And I've had to learn that because sometimes I believe, me being a person that is so black and white, I only thought, I said, you know, well, surely all of us are going to come to this place where we're healed, we're perfect, you know, we're complete. And that's a misnomer. As you grow and develop, your relationship will grow and develop. And as you allow your character to be built, the relationship literally will evolve to that point, and to the extent where it could actually be fruitful, it could be mutually beneficial, it could be great and awesome and loving and amazing. But it is definitely evolutionary and evolving, and it doesn't stay stagnant. Also, it is seasonal. You're going to have some good times and some bad times. I believe people do a grave disjustice to themselves, and I know that I've done this before, that I actually was a novice in terms of believing that everything is always going to be wonderful. Everything, we're going to, you know, never really have any misunderstandings. And if there are some misunderstandings, it's going to be a wonderful resolve of conflict and so on and so forth. That's not reality. You know, life will throw some curveballs at you. And based on, you know, your maturity level, and also based on your willingness, will determine how that actual relationship will evolve, how that conflict will manifest, how that season will yield its fruit, and how peaceable that fruit will be. So I'm learning that relationships are evolutionary, but also to the extent, not it's just behavior, but it's character, and also the seasons that we allow to play out in our relationships that will manifest beautiful fruit if we allow it to, and if we allow ourselves to do the work and approach it in a realistic perspective. So Bishop, thank you for allowing me to share. I'm happy to be here.
All right. Rachel, Angelica, Candace, I think you're the only three that haven't shared on this part.
You know, I was just listening to the other ladies just share like their views of what relationships have taught them. And I was actually just thinking about what the word relationship means and how it's all about how we relate on our journey. So obviously, you know, a ship is a vehicle. So that's what I was just thinking about. I was thinking about how we can learn many lessons about how we relate to other people in this journey that we call life. And one of the things that we will learn along this journey, which is very similar to what, you know, all the others have said, is we learn about ourselves. I think the first thing we learn is about what we really like and what we really believe about ourselves will be shown in the fruits of our relationships. So how you feel about, you know, everything will show up in your relationships, whether it's your friendships, whether it's a romantic relationship, whether it's a work colleague thing or your family, it doesn't matter what it is. And I think that if you, in the midst of relationships, don't learn about yourself, then you'll probably need to do some more work. Because after everything goes through, when you look through the list of friends that you have, when you look through your track record as it relates to romantic endeavors, the common denominator in all of those things is you. And so the more that you go through life is the more you should know yourself, what you like, what you dislike, your dreams, your hopes, your passions. And I think for me, that's the main thing that I'm learning during the journey of life is about myself. What is Rachel like? And what is she like? And so as I develop those things, I'm able to look back and course correct along the way based on what happens in each one of those relationships.
If I can jump in right here, all you ladies have said some amazing things. So y'all kind of said some of the same things that I would say, but if I could add anything to it, is what I found out is we talk about communication, but I learned effective communication. Like when I thought that I was like really saying what was on my mind, I probably was just talking to that person or casually mention it and not really having a conversation. So one thing I've learned is to have effective communication in a relationship to where things are actually having a solution to them and not just open-ended. So I've learned over time to effectively communicate my feelings and things like that. And I think that's something that we have to understand in relationships. Our person, as much as they study us, cannot read our mind. And so it's up to us to effectively communicate and have that conversation. Another thing I learned is relationships are processes. And everyone has said that about the evolution and things like that. It's a process. I used to be a person that would rush in, like Dr. Eve said, that I would lead with my heart first and not even thinking with my mind, and wanting to have those, lay that foundation in friendship first, because I was so gung-ho on having someone. And so I had to learn that it's a process. Let me get to know you in that friendship stage before my heart jumps in it. And then it's a whole nother lens that I'm looking through. And then I'm making judgment based on my heart instead of thinking logically with my mind. So relationships are processes, and those are two of the things that I've learned over time.
All right, Candace.
Hey everyone. So that everybody says some amazing things. For me, I would say the biggest thing that I learned, and so I'm a movie buff, so one of my favorite movies is The Runaway Bride. And I don't know if you guys have seen that, but I actually took a piece of that movie and put it in one of my books where I talk about how I like my eggs. And there was a part in the movie where each guy she dated, when they were asked by Richard Gere's character, well, how does the runaway bride like her eggs? They would say scrambled like me, or another guy would say, well, over easy like me. And it was basically every time she dated someone, she would conform to who he was. And so what I learned about relationships and relationships that I've been a part of is to be an individual and be okay with me. Learn how to stand firm and strong in me and not conform and make my eggs the way someone else desires it and be okay with the way that I like it. So relationships have taught me individuality. They have also exposed some of the things that I would consider flaws. Like sometimes I don't like to share. Sometimes I don't feel like being bothered. But for the biggest thing I would just say is they've taught me the things that I need to work on. Because as a single, you can kind of hide. You can you're okay with you, right? You're always right so long as you're consulting with the man in the mirror. But relationships truly expose who you are. So relationships just have showed me that not only is there a little bit more work I need to do if I want to be joined with someone, but also that life goes on. You will move forward. You will get over it. And relationships have taught me how to fail forward. And I just say that because sometimes you don't get the outcome that you desire, but it's given me like the stamina. It's given me the perseverance to just go on and say, okay, let me try this again. Let me do something different. And so those are some of the main things. It's learning individuality, learning how to pick yourself back up once you feel like you've hit rock bottom, because after a breakup, that's always how it feels. And just the things that I need to work on. So those are some of the things that stick out to me. Everyone has said great things. So for me, those probably for me are the biggest.
So y'all talked about what you learned from relationships, but what did you learn about yourselves? I know Rachel kind of alluded to it and Candace did a little bit, but what did you learn about yourselves? What in the relationships, let's go this way, caused you, what did they teach you? Like, what did you take from that? What's better about you from the relationships? Maybe I said like that. I ain't like Candace. I can't put it all fancy and stuff. What's better about you? Like, what did you learn? What characteristics how did you evolve, Rachel? Am I breaking it down, y'all? What did the men bring out of y'all? Good and bad. Yeah.
I have a response. Yeah. the hard part is saying all the great things that we learned about ourselves in the relationship, but the tough part is saying, like, I learned that I'm selfish, and I'm selfish with me. And we've talked about this on the Clubhouse stage. Like, I'm very selfish with my space. I don't really want someone constantly in my face or around me. I also learned that I didn't do so well with communicating. If I didn't like something, and I'm speaking past tense because I'm growing, but if I did not like something, then I would not respond to your phone call, and I wouldn't respond to your text messages, and I would talk when I was ready to talk. And one of the things my mother used to always say to me, and I never believed it, she used to say, Nikki will determine when you're off punishment, and you're not off punishment until she says you're off punishment. And it took the last relationship that I was in to realize, like, that's not fair. And you need to be able to be, if you're woman enough to be a boss, if you're woman enough to be beautiful, if you're woman enough to be educated and not, watering yourself down, then you need to be woman enough to be able to have a conversation and to be able to communicate effectively. And so I learned that I was not a great communicator, and I was a stuffer. And I would stuff my feelings in. And you know what happens when you continue to stuff your feelings in? When you finally let it out, it comes out. And there was a great explosion. And that's what I was doing. I would explode in my feelings and explode in what I wanted to say, when I should have just said, I should have been able to say, I just need a moment. I just need some time. And then when I am feeling better and not in a huff and a puff, we can have a conversation. We can talk about it. So I did learn that I was selfish. I was very selfish. And I'm working on, trying to, if and when I get back into a relationship, being able to allow someone to be in my space a little bit more, and to be able to communicate effectively and not shut down, because that's not fair. Although I feel like I'm covering myself in that moment and covering my feelings in that moment, and not even, jumping out and saying something out of my mouth. Like, it's like toothpaste. Once you get it out, you can't put it back. You cannot put it back into the tube once it's out. And so being able to say, right now, I just need a little bit of time, and then I'll be able to speak again. So I'm very proud of myself in my process, and to be able to publicly say this in front of an audience, that these are some of the things that I did not know that were really loud about myself. And I'm working on it. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Those just two.
Very good.
Oh, go ahead, Bishop.
Go ahead.
I'll jump in there. That was very good, Dr. Nick. So I think for me, I'll just probably share maybe two as well. For me, my patience. I used to be extremely impatient, to the point where I think at times, I know at times I would probably have a little fit if something didn't go, the way I wanted it and the time I wanted it. But I have definitely learned patience. I know that men move at a different pace than women do. And so I've learned to value the logic in a man's pace. So that's one lesson.
I think she froze. She froze like this. You're muted, Bishop.
And it's so cute how she
And
posed.
she is so
I would have looked crazy froze.
By the way,
The other lesson I would say is just the value.
You froze. Yeah, she's gone now. All right, who wants to go?
Oh
God.
Who's going?
Angelica.
Okay.
So I learned a lot from my relationships, but I'm gonna limit it to two. And I'm gonna be real transparent here. I've shared this before. One thing I learned is that in my relationships, all the way up until the age of 32, I operated in my relationships through a lens of trauma, meaning that everything that had happened to me, and just to give a few things, the being a teen mom, being raped twice, and suicidal thoughts and attempts, I operated in every relationship through a lens of trauma. And as a result of that, it caused me to be muted and conform to the person that I was with. Like, I had no identity in that relationship. And so I learned about myself before, like, I started going to therapy at 29, but I really took it serious at 32 and really started doing the work, because I no longer wanted to be bound by the traumas that I had experienced in life, which causes me to be muted, that caused me to not be my best self, to not allow me to offer what God had created me to offer in relationships. And so one thing that I learned was, and as much as I would say, and I try to suppress the traumas, and be numb to the traumas and say, you know what, this is me being me, but I operated literally through a lens of trauma. And at age of 29, when I started going to therapy and really started doing some digging, I didn't take it serious till I was like 32. And when I got 32 and started really doing the work on myself, I started understanding who I am and that I do have a voice and that I don't have to be muted in relationships, and actually being able to articulate and have effective communication with whoever I dated. Now, I haven't been in a relationship since 31, but now in the dating space, I am more keen to who I am and what I want and what I like, and that lens of trauma is no longer there, where I feel like I gotta rush into it and I gotta bow down and I gotta do all these things in order for this person to like me, when they can just take me as I am, or just not have nothing at all. And so I just learned to heal and be whole and do the work. And that's what I learned from my relationships. It was a hard thing to admit to myself, but when I finally did, that's when the healing took place, and that's when the wholeness took place, and that's when I started seeing myself and knowing who I am.
Okay, I'll go ahead and jump in, Bishop. I got booted off, but great response, Angelica. So the last thing I would say is just the value of a man. I got married very young, and one of the emphasis on relationships was a man's ability to take care of you. That was a huge emphasis. And I think in going in it from that space, you more focus on what someone can do for you and how they're going to treat you, and what's that going to be for you. And of course, after being married 17 years, that conversation shifted for me in understanding the value of a man. But I think that's one of the biggest lessons from that relationship. And then also the last relationship I was in, just really taking the time to understand a man, his makeup, the way he thinks, his wiring, and not from a place of judgment, just clearly from a place of this is how he's created. And when I learned to do that, it just took it to another level of respect, of honor. And so that would be the second lesson that I would say relationships have taught me.
Hey, Bishop. I would say that I learned how to pull back, right? What I think Dr. Glasper used to call it an aggressive giver. So I am an aggressive giver, and I'm always wanting a person to know how much I love them and how much I care about them. But I understood that not everyone comes from that type of background. There are some people who have not experienced love the way that I love. And so it can be intoxicating. So I've learned how to pull it back. And I also learned that I was a little spoiled, just a little tinge. Yeah, just a little bit, just a little spoiled. When I want you to do something, I want you to do it. And so that doesn't always work. And I remember this guy one time telling me, he says, your grandfather ruined you, because I was raised by my grandparents. And he says, your grandfather ruined you. And I said, you a lie? He didn't ruin me. You just can't fill his shoes. Well, guess what I learned? I learned that a man that comes into my life as a significant other, husband, or otherwise, is not coming in to fill my father's shoes. He's coming in to be my man, not my daddy. Yeah, and I'll start right there. So I learned that. I learned how to separate the little girl from the grown woman. Relationships also grew me up, because I'm not a little girl. I was a full grown woman who was spoiled, rotten, just a little bit. And I learned that I can't have everything my way, although I wanted it. And it was right, of course, right, ladies? That we're supposed to have our way. But guess what? It doesn't work like that in the real world. So I learned that. I learned how to pull back. I learned how to compromise without compromising, if that makes sense. And I learned that I was a little spoiled. And I also learned, as Anisha said, how to be more patient. I needed just a little more patient. Oh, can I add one more thing? Let me just add something else I learned. I learned that I am not the potter and my man is not the clay, right? I learned that I wanted to be the potter sometimes and reinvent him. He comes already who he is. And so I've learned how to accept people for who and where they are because I didn't always know that.
Very good.
That's it.
Thank you. I want to go to Candace though, and her comment. Candace, what is that? She's talking about, I learned to stop going back 20 times. Is that what you said?
I learned that I'm gonna go back 20 times until God sets me free. You know, some of the things that I learned about myself, and I think that it would have been good with the right person, because you should be able to endure and stick through. But I like, man, this is crazy. So I learned that, you know, I want to stick and stay and try to make things work. And sometimes that's not always the best thing. But then the opposite to what you learned, Dr. Eve, I did learn that when we have this knight in shiny armor, sometimes the armor needs to be a little dusted off, a little groomed, and just a you put it on the thing. And sometimes I love Marlinda. I would go. I would be going back.
That's good
back,
though, because so many people do it. Women, I get DMs from women all the time, and you being honest, that's good. Go ahead.
Yeah, and Bishop, you know, it's so crazy because I know that, you know, like just the natural side of me will be like, I wouldn't go back, and a man can't this and that, and I'm strong, and I'm this and I'm that. But it's something about being in those relationships that hurts and all that you say out of your mind, they really make you what you said you wouldn't do, or you will be sitting there going back a million times. You know, you see all the memes about, oh, she's got X amount of degrees and she's fighting with a man who's barely got, you know, it's so I learned
fighting with a man with two outfits.
Listen, you learn your capacity in relationships. You learn how much you're willing to take for somebody. I learned that I don't mind selling CDs with you if I think it's gonna work. You know, I learn all the lyrics. But just being a little funny. But yeah, I learned my capacity and what I would be willing to take, good and bad. And I know that some of the things that I would have desired in terms of the outcome, I said, you know, you don't reap always, you know, where you sow, you reap what you sow. So you just put in that good work and you will reap it somewhere else.
Very good.
Can I hop in, Bishop?
Absolutely.
I love what everybody said though, and Dr. Eve has me over here rolling just a little bit. She had me rolling with a little bit. This is really good. The things that I learned, I used to have what was called love 'em and leave 'em syndrome, to where if a guy didn't respond in a certain way by a certain time for a certain reason, I'd be like, all right, on to the next one, on to the next one, on to the next one. And my mom, I remember talking to my mom one day, and she said, well, what happened to, I said, girl, you know, he was just one on the team. He was on the team. He got cut from the team. And my mom was like, you got love him and leave him syndrome. You need to figure out what's going on with you. And I remember exploring that. And like Angelica, unfortunately, my first experience with a man was one of my uncles stole my virginity. And then later on in life, I conceived and gave birth to a little girl from a date rape. And so what I came to realize is that I had issues with feeling betrayed, abandoned, left, harmed, abused. I mean, it was so many different things that I had to grow from in order to become a healthy person. So I was becoming a burden instead of a blessing to the guys that were in my space as a result of those things happening to me in my yesteryear. So I had to learn how to grow from those things, sit in front of somebody, and for years, it was for years. I took some years to go ahead and work that out, work through that, understand what was going on with me so that I could learn to actually love them and love me while encompassing a relationship. Because you already know, Bishop, if you don't love yourself, you definitely can't love anybody else. It's impossible. You can say it all day long, but if that love is not intact internally from the inside out, then you're not going to be able to be a value. You're going to be a burden and not a blessing to the person that is in your space. So I learned that I had to get some help for that, because I came to realize that I just had an innate hate for Black men. The men that violated me looked like me. So I literally hated them. And I didn't realize I was actually walking in that space. And because, you know, we're all attractive women and all that stuff, I could do what I want to do because I'm cute. You don't want to do? I got another one on the team that no problem. Put somebody else up for that. And so I remember when my mom said that, it was really, she's like, you got to love them and leave them. Said, girl, you need to figure out what's going on. And I remember going through that whole process, Bishop, taking a real chill pill. You know, that's another reason why I took the last 10 years to kind of chill, you know, enjoying the dating life and just kind of chilling out. And just enjoying life, because that was my round 2. I had another traumatic experience when my children's father died. So, you know, it was just like, man, and it's so crazy because my brain went back to that same abandonment thing. He didn't do anything to me. He passed away. It wasn't his fault. He died, you know. And so I had to go back again, Angelica, sit back on the couch again, deal with that, find some new coping mechanisms, find a new way to figure out and just be okay with everything in life. And I learned that, you know, you just gotta roll with the tide, roll with the punches. I learned how to take care of myself internally to externally so that I would be a blessing and not a burden to the people in my life, the men in my space. And I'm grateful for that process and that journey. And so that's what makes it easy for me, Bishop, to go now and go back and help some other people to come up, because you got to come up from that place. You can't stay there. It happened, but hey, it happened, but it is not who you are. It's not who you are. It was something that happened, and God can take that same thing that tried to destroy you and use it to create destiny and purpose in your heart. And so I'm just grateful for that. So that's some things that I learned. And like Dr. Nick and like Dr. NYC and all the other beauties on the panel, I just learned that, guess what? The right one will show up in the time in which God has designed it. Period, point blank, in a discussion. I'm good with it. Always good with it till then. Thank you, Bishop.
Great.
Beautiful coffee. Beautiful.
Listen, before Rachel come, all of you, thank you for your transparency and making this a place, because there, I'm sure, are other women that are watching and will watch this to identify with everything. There's somebody that's spoiled. There's somebody that's been through this and been through that. Seriously, and they will be helped and can identify with you. And people keep asking me, say, Bishop, your energy is not the same. No, because I learned, let me say this, I learned when I hosted the women on Young Preachers, they ate me up. So I'm just letting y'all talk. I'm asking the questions, all right? I don't want to be, I learned my lesson. Okay, so Rachel, come on with it.
Yeah, no, it's really good, like just what everyone's sharing, like, because I think that we all learn different things from our relationships. And I think one thing, as I was listening to everyone share different stories, for me, I think one thing I learned was about my sexuality was how much I had really kind of stifled it due to my upbringing. You know, being brought up in a very traditional, very conservative household where in actual fact, as a child, I think I shared this somewhere on Clubhouse this week, that as a child, I went to a Catholic primary school, and my parents took me out of sex education class twice. And so I never actually got the formal sex education that my peers got. and we never were told it at home. I didn't really know anything about my own sexuality or sex up until maybe 12, 13, and that's through other people. And so I think that relationships really taught me about my own personal sexual journey and what that looks like for me as a woman of God. And over time, I've kind of like had some, highs and lows around that, and also exploring what does that look like? Does that mean this, or does this mean this? Knowing what are the yeses and the nos for us, and does it look different for different people? And being able to come to this point in my life where I am so free in my sexuality and who I am as a sexual woman, and knowing and being honest with myself about enjoying sex. So I think that sometimes as women, we can get demonized for having a sexual appetite, for wanting or desiring to have sex or to be sexy and things like that. But one thing relationships have taught me is that's the first thing that I'd love to share is about sex and sexuality. And the second thing is that I was never too much. I was always asking the wrong person. And that when you understand that there are people in your life that are there to, every relationship is a lesson, like Bishop said in the beginning. Every relationship is a lesson. And that is going to be one of the most important lessons. Those two are the two things that I've learned for me in my life that have been the most important, because in the right situation, you're able to be fulfilled in all kinds of ways, not just sexually, even though I mentioned that first, in general, just as a person. And then in other situations, you're being stifled. And that's why I've realized that when I've learned how to navigate who I am as Rachel, now I know when I look back in the past, I can be like, oh, because you weren't embracing who you truly are, you were asking the wrong people to give you things that they couldn't give you because they weren't even the ones for you. And so now it's like making sure that I am being always true to what I really desire about all things in my life, and to be clear about that. Because when you ask the right person and when you're with the right person, there's such a shift that happens in your life, that the alignment, that union can just be so powerful. And those are two of the most important lessons for me that I've learned about the relationships that I've had in the past.
Okay. I think Shira's the only one that hasn't answered this.
Probably, I'm not sure. I think so, but I'll chime in, Bishop. But really quick, just for the sake of time, and good answers, wonderful answers, ladies. Thank you so much. I'm learning a lot. One of the things I learned about myself in particular is that I had a knight in shining armor complex, very much so, because I saw the wonderful and magnificent interaction that my mother and my stepfather had. And he really did come in on a white horse and just kind of save us from some crazy stuff. I tell people all the time, we grew up with a lot of finances, so we weren't broke, but we were broken. And so a lot of craziness, a lot of dysfunction. And so when my stepdad came into our lives, he came like a knight in shining armor. He actually saved the day, and he was a magnificent father, and he was an absolutely amazing, very engaging, loving husband to my mom. And so we saw that and was like, God blessed us to see this fairy tale scenario between the two of them and how they interacted. And so every relationship that I would enter in, even though it hasn't been many, but those relationships I entered into, I would try to make my relationship mimic what my mother and fathers were, what my stepfathers, what it looked like, what it was. And it was a horrible thing that I had to actually get over, because what I realized through counseling, like some of the other young ladies, is that I cannot have that expectation that my relationship is going to look like anybody else's relationship. Every relationship is unique, and it's dynamic. And it has to work itself out in order for it to yield the result that God has ordained and called for it to yield. And so it was really traumatizing for me, because I thought every man was supposed to be that way. And every man is not that way. That doesn't mean that he can't be a knight in shining armor, but every man is absolutely not, what I saw my mother and my father interact like, or my stepfather interact like. So I had to get over that, because I had a wrong expectation, and it was actually a misplaced expectation, which yielded, I was so impatient I was unloving, I was unkind in the process, because I'm like, why can't you be like my dad? And everybody is not like my dad. Also, I had to, I'm a business person, not only a minister, but I also work in a corporate America. And so I had to learn to not approach every relationship like it's a business deal. It can't be black or white. There are some grays in between. There are going to be some compromises that you have to have. And you also have to deal with relationships. One of the greatest learnings or teachings that I've actually learned, and one of the things that I've actually learned is that it's not about who's right or wrong in a relationship. A healthy relationship will yield a win for both. And so when I'm negotiating in business deals, literally, I am learning that, I'm going to win every time. Come on, I win every time. Don't play with me. And so, but in relationships, literally, if it's a healthy one, you literally, both of the individuals will win, because the emphasis is on the mutual benefit to one another, and also the respect, the camaraderie, the love, also being able to make sure that there is a healthy compromise, that everyone's needs are met. That's not how a business deal often works. And so I tell people all the time, it's so important that we don't approach our relationships like they're mechanical, assets and business deals and liabilities. This is not what that is in terms of a transaction. These are individuals. We are healthy individuals doing life together. And so we have to approach it that way. So I had to really kind of unravel some things and learn some things, and literally start dealing with individuals on a human basis, and not as a business deal or a transaction. And so I had to go and get some, kind of therapy and relationship coaching myself for that, so I can engage in relationships in a healthy and a positive way. So I'm still learning, but it's a beautiful thing. The vulnerability that I've been able to learn and walk in is so amazing, and it's refreshing, because when you can just be genuinely you and not trying to bring your mom and your daddy in the situation, and not trying to approach it like a business deal, you can disarm yourself, bring some walls down, enjoy the wonderful, beautiful process of relationship and engagement if you do it the right way. So Bishop, that's my share for now. Thank you for allowing me to share.
So I want to ask this, and then we're going to pivot to something else. How do you, and I only want a couple of people to answer because I want to get started. How do you put these things into, glad to see all the men too. How do you put these things in practice? I heard y'all say them, but how do you actually then, are you sit like my thing is, Candace, y'all, I can overtalk sometime. And, I've been working on that since Pastor Kim days, you ain't go, she put her hand on you ain't go overtalk me. And so that was kind of the only thing that would bother her. But so I'm cognizant of it. I try to be, okay? Every now and then I ain't. But do you say to yourself the things that you've mentioned, because one thing, learning the lesson, but then for the ladies that are listening, don't point at me, Anisha. How do you implement it? Like not walking around, y'all feel me? Not walking around like saying, like you got a list, I got to say this, nah, I can't do that, I can't do that. Does it become a part of you? Do you find yourself have to check yourself from the things that you said? And I'm really asking this, not to put y'all on the spot, because y'all already out there, y'all been really transparent. Thank y'all. But just to teach some others, how do you?
Can I answer that, Bishop?
Yep.
So while you were talking, as you all know, I say I'm successfully single because I am, and I've been out of a relationship for some time now. So the question you asked is, how do you do that? So it would appear, or you could probably come to the assumption that I'm not able to put that in practice because I'm not in a relationship. But I now have to be intentional about watching these things and putting them in practice when I'm in communication with other men. For example, like when it comes to Bishop Davis, as a room administrator, if he asks me to do something, and if I have a question about it, or if I feel some type of way about it, I have to tell myself to communicate, and to communicate effectively. Like, what is my end result that I definitely want? when I finish talking to him. Even with my brothers, or even with men that I work with. For the summer, I'm teaching a performing arts program. And so there was a man that I work with every single day. So I'm making sure that I am intentional about telling him how I feel about things and talking to him, not talking at him. Because I talked about how I'm a stuffer. And sometimes as a stuffer, you don't really, say things, you hold them in. So, I make time before our classes begin and after our classes end to make sure that I'm doing that talking and I'm having effective communication and I know my end. So I think what I would like to say is that you have to be intentional about it and not say to the person, this is what I'm working on today, because it doesn't seem authentic then. But when you are telling yourself, I really want to do this, and because I really want to be better in all of my relationships, then I'm really watching it and I'm telling myself, this is what I'm going to work on. And I'm even checking myself and asking myself how I did that day with it. So for me, it's intentionality. Although I'm not in a relationship and I'm not dating at this time, I still work with men. I actually work with more men than I work with women. So I am intentional about how I speak to men, how I listen to men, how I communicate with men, how I express myself and not hold things in. So that's where it is. Intentionality, putting it into practice. If I want to say I want to learn how to ride a horse, I can't just look at the horse. I have to get on, mount the horse, and actually start riding the horse. And that's what it's about. Putting it into practice, not speaking about it. As Biggie Small said, Shira, as Biggie Small said, don't speak about it, be about it. And that's what it is, intentionality.
And I'll jump in there really quick. Great response, Dr. Nick. And Bishop, I was pointing because I was agreeing with you. I was.
No, I know.
I was like, no, because I actually had this conversation, I want to say either yesterday or today. I can't remember. And I'll probably just have a little transparent moment there. To be honest with you, 100% honest with you, I think there are some things you're not going to really get a chance to see what's there until you're in the relationship. When somebody is rubbing you away and that flag pop up and you like, now, I know I didn't work on this. So then it requires me, in a relationship, it requires me to go back to what I know, and so there's a difference between revelation. I said this, I think it was yesterday, revelation and application. So I have I have lots of great I'm a relationship coach. I have a whole certification. So I understand these things and I help people. But when it comes to you in a relationship, certain things can transpire. And they're not always bad things. It's just, normal relating to another person. So I have found myself at moments, things that I have a great revelation on, but I have not yet been able to apply. Having to really walk myself through. Bishop, you said, do you stop and write down a list? I don't think it's writing down a list, but as Dr. Nick said, it is being intentional. It is recognizing when that red flag is waved in your face. It's a moment to think. Okay, first of all, I acknowledge I have an emotion, because most times an emotion is going to pop up. You're going to feel something, and you're like, so then I'm like, where'd that come from? Okay, now let me readjust. And just in full transparency, I had a meeting the other day with a few people, and it takes some time when you first get into a new relationship to get into the new relationship. And so what do I mean by that? Oftentimes you're still unpacking, no matter how much work we've done. And that's the truth of the matter. You're still unpacking some of this old stuff. You're still learning not to respond, because it's just now our subconscious is going to speak. And so you're having to have those moments with yourself, and even sometimes in the relationship. And I think it's so important that when you allow yourself to get in a relationship, that you allow yourself to be present with someone who's patient with your process, as you are patient with their process. Because at a certain point in our life, we've all had relationships. I don't care if it's 17 years, 5, 2, whatever it is, we all have people that we bring with us, if we're really honest. And so for me, it's just been that intentional piece of recognizing when something does arise, okay, take a moment, look at your initial response, and then if it's not what you want to give, if you know it's not the proper response to give, if you know it's a response that does not belong to the situation, let me decide to choose differently. So Dr. Nick, you're so on point, that intentional piece, but just understanding and being patient with yourself. Those of you who are watching, that you've done great work, but be patient with yourself, because even though you've done the work, now you're going to have to implement, apply the work. So be patient, and you need to allow yourself to be with someone who's going to be equally patient as you are patient with their process as well. So that is a great question, Bishop. That's my share.
Can I jump in?
Yeah.
Oh.
Let me say this before you come, Candace. Hey, Prophet Shipman, and I saw Prophet Perry. Thank y'all for supporting tonight. And Joe, go ahead, Candace.
Okay, so for me, a lot of the stuff that I had to work on, one of the things I did was I put it into practice with other areas. You can't say, so for example, I too suffer with being selfish. So I noticed that showed up in other relationships. It's not just going to show up in the relationship with the guy. So you got to start putting that into practice universally. And then it'll help you out. But then another thing too, I'm all about accountability, and I need someone who is comfortable enough checking me and being like, look, what are you doing? Like, why are you behaving this way? And in love. And I think that for me, one of the best things that I can do is just give someone that I am with the comfort, the safety, and just the reassurance that they can kind of pull my coattail and be like, now listen, you're not sharing that popcorn again. You know, I thought you wanted me, you know, and it's a way to do it. It's a loving way to do it. You can do it joking, and sometimes it can make for a tough conversation. But I always say that when we are trying to right the wrongs within ourselves, sometimes we can miss it, because what I may think is okay, someone else may be completely offended by. So I think that in a relationship, we have to kind of get to the point where we are okay with people opening up their mouth and saying to us, hey, this offended me, or hey, you know, I know that you're working on this area, but this is something that I see you doing that I would love, you know, for you to kind of just be mindful of. But that's just, I think we put a bad, we give confrontation a bad reputation. It doesn't have to be bad. You can have conversations to ensure your relationship is healthy. So I personally, this is just me speaking, Candace Parker. I need a man who can walk up on me after, I mean, and not aggressively or abusively, but just, you know, ladies, just walk up on me and just be like, now listen, did you even have to do all that? You know how we get where we just clown. And I need him to just feel comfortable and safe enough to be like, have a seat, Blondie. What's going on? Like, and so that for me is something that I need. I'm looking at me, but look at me too, and tell me, because we're in this together, and I want to have the space to tell him too. So those are the things. I'm practicing it universally, you know. But if I get it wrong, I need the man of God to just, you know, snatch me up a little bit and just, you know, just whisper a little something to me. So
how many,
a little bit.
How many of y'all agree with that? That you really, even though y'all strong women, alpha women, bosses, but you still want to hear that voice every night and say, okay, bring it in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
You know, I think it's needed, Bishop, because for all of us are very strong, and I think
no.
Cut it out, Bishop. Cut it out. And I think that a soft man is not going to be able to get us into a position where we sit back and say, you know what, you're right. Right. Because even to this day, like, I'm fully grown. And if my dad tells me to sit down and go sit in that corner, I'm gonna sit down and go sit in that corner, because he loves me. But at the same time, if he has to check me, then check me. But you checking me in love. And like Candace said, you know, let me holler at you for a minute. I need you to sit down for a minute. Let's talk about it.
Okay.
I might really
agree.
like that. So I might even act up just so you can say
Yes. Yes. I agree with you, Dr. Nick. It's a turn on to me. I tell everyone, because I'm so busy being in control or leading something, when a man can actually, with kindness and grace, but also with authority, reel me back in, That's an actual turn on. Yes, because you can lead me. That's a turn on for me.
And it's a difference between a guy trying to force it and it not being who he actually is. There's some guys that try to, you heard what I do. That's not who you are. Let it go. It's okay. You and I it's good. We're not a good fit for each other, okay? Because you're trying too hard. But then you got the other guy, like what Candace said. Candace, I always want to call Candace Candy.
Listen.
I didn't give her that name.
Yeah, I didn't want to call her that since I met her, but a man that is assertive, he asserts that energy so eloquently that you just kind of like be like, oh, okay, Papa, all right, I hear you, babe. You got it. I absolutely, sir. Anything else, sir? Anything else? So, that guy, a guy that is a natural, innate part of who he is, and that balance and that energy, and it's easy to respond to him versus reacting. So it's real easy to respond, and you immediately are able to reposition or repoise yourself to adapt to what's going on in that moment. So, you got to have a man like that is the kind of guy that has that assertive energy to where you respect him. That's where that respect shows up. You respect him and you respect the authority that he has as it pertains to your relationship, the union between the two of you. That respect is intact. So when he says, ma'am, I'm gonna need you to adjust such and such, that's and so. All right, Pops, you got it. It's all good.
Yes,
anytime.
Whatever you need, Daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which one is it?
It's the Pops for me. I'll go ahead and jump in. Go ahead, Dr. Eve. I'll go for Dr. Eve.
I can't deal with a soft man. I'm sorry.
Okay. I only wanted a couple of y'all because I got some other questions, but go ahead, Dr. Eve. You be the last one, and then I'm gonna start with some other questions because I want to get.
Sorry, Bishop.
Huh?
I said sorry, Bishop.
No, Dr. Eve, go ahead.
Okay. So
You sure?
can I
Go
also
ahead.
just
Yeah, go
look at to thine own self be true, right? You got to know where you are, be honest about where you are. And although I think sometimes we say we want a man to check us, right? But when he does, we like, oh, wait, who gonna check me, boo? Not you. So, and I'll give a brief example really quickly. My assistant said to me not too long ago, she says, now let me ask you a question. I said, yes, ma'am. And she says, has he heard you raise your voice? Because when you get anxious about something and you raise your voice, we can't understand what you're saying. And I said, who, me? No way. I wouldn't dare raise my voice to that man of God. First of all, that's a real man, baby. I'm not going to try that with him. Hello, you got to know where you are, and you've got to know yourself and be honest about who you are. If you know that you will pop off, baby, look yourself in the mirror and say, I will not pop off. I will not pop off with my son. I will not pop off with the man in church, with the deacons, the usher board. I will not pop off with the bus driver, with the waiter. I will treat everyone. And I totally agree with Candace. I was actually going to say the same thing. Practice makes perfect. And sometimes we wait until we're in a relationship to say, okay, we're going to treat a man a certain way. Well, what about all the rest of the men in your life who you don't respect or give honor to? So it doesn't happen overnight. Rome was not built in a day, and respect either, honor either. And I believe that sometimes we have to, again, be honest about where we are, some of the habits that we've had, identify them and work on them every single day so that when we get in a position where we have a man that can handle us, we will know our role. And I know y'all don't like that term, knowing your role. I know my place. My place is to submit and to be honorable to him. And so that's all I have to say.
So some quick questions, and I need y'all to give yes and no's. Yes and no's, and just a quick why. All right, let's start with Rachel. Would you date outside your race?
Yes.
Why?
because I don't, in all areas of my life, I don't believe in limitation. And also the spaces that I'm in are very multicultural. So I'm very open to that.
Frank Ray III, the men in the house. Frank Ray III. Coffee.
Absolutely. Love has absolutely no color. Open to opportunities for that. Absolutely. Always.
Sharon.
Yes, because of the actual circles that I travel in, and also I'm always open to different opportunities, and definitely in the love space. So yes.
Dr. Nick.
Absolutely. As mentioned, I'm open to new opportunities, and I want to see if there's another opportunity to see where the money resides.
I thought that would be a Dr. E.
Where the money resides.
Where the
I
money
thought that would be a
resides.
Rachel.
So if I need to go over to another country,
Where
where the money
you done
resides,
converted
I
them.
don't mind.
You done converted them, Rachel. Go ahead, Dr.
Bye.
Dr. E. Yes, no, why?
Yes, I would if I was in that position too. And it's because I like culture. I'm not completely all African American, and I've been raised by culture. And I live in Miami, so that's all.
All right, Angelica.
Absolutely. Because love has no color,
And
I'm surprised, actually. I'm surprised. Okay.
you surprised, Angelica?
Yeah, I'm surprised at Angelica and Dr. Eve.
Really?
I was more surprised at, and y'all got me. I was more surprised at Angelica and Dr. Nick.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm slowly allowing you guys to see other parts of me. You can't let it all out.
I'm like blown away.
Wow.
Surprised.
Okay, and Anisha, we know you're in something, but would you?
I have said that if
And she's twisting her hair.
Just long response for me.
yeah, no, I mean, I
She
have
must
said,
have, wait a minute. She must have somebody in mind back in the day before this man, somebody on TV, actor or something, some white man. Go ahead.
no, I mean, I actually get white men in other cultures who are interested in me all the time. I am in different circles as well. And so I have dated outside my race before. But I'm in a relationship. But so yeah, I was never close to that.
Yeah, there is probably other people up here on relationship too. They just ain't know it.
Yeah, I was never close to it.
You don't have to get the precursor. You always got Angelica, Rachel said she was surprised with your answer.
Oh, I've dated Hispanic, Latino, and white. I've dated outside of my culture, and Nigerian, and one Asian. Yeah, so I've dated.
Oh wow, one Asian for me, honey. Yeah,
it's multicultural. I love it.
It's the one Asian for me.
And one.
That's
Asian.
why I like Pan Asian food.
I love it
dude
too.
can
Yeah.
cook.
Yeah.
I like to eat.
Candace,
Oh, I have some questions.
Candace.
Yeah, I would for many of the reasons that you
Frank,
all
they are Frank.
Candace.
I even go one step further, and I don't care who got something to say. The babies are beautiful. Okay, I love my black babies. I love my biracial babies. I take a Blasian baby. Listen, the babies are beautiful.
Oh, Bishop said, "Look at him."
but
Bishop said, "Look at him."
But the culture, I love. Most people know I was adopted, so my mom is Caucasian. So I've got like my cousins, and they're all. Some of them are biracial, and then some of them are Caucasian. But yeah, but I mean, it's the culture, it's the money. But if you gotta have swag, though, don't come over here.
Yes.
Like a Trump supporter, how you do swag.
Yes.
Okay. So,
Bishop, I had a question. Yeah, no, my question is maybe because I'm not American, but my question is, what's the problem? Like some of the comments are like,
they're not.
oh yeah, because you're from Black men don't like to see their women with with other races. Yeah,
I'm
Black
trying to
American
understand why, but they'll go outside the race. Like, are
y'all
you
don't like to
kidding me?
see it neither, though. Well, some. I don't mean everybody.
I don't.
No, of course not. But
You
I
said
don't.
you don't like to see it, but y'all gonna do it.
No, I don't
Listen,
mind.
you didn't say what color they had to be. You just said race.
Oh, okay.
They could be
Right.
Jamaican. They
Right.
could be.
But Rachel, to
Dark
answer your question, that's why you see Frank and them saying that kind of stuff.
Frank said he was gone.
Yeah, he left.
Frank
Mhm.
just left
Don't do
the
it.
building.
And
I
Bishop,
told
can I
Because
Frank,
most of
my
because most,
question is, if people have such an issue though with women dating, well, black women in particular dating another race, my question would be, well, do you as black men really know how to treat us as women?
well, I think that's a general question. I mean, not everybody. It's not
Black
absolute.
women,
It's not absolute though. I'm saying
do
there's some men
you
that
as
do.
black men really know how to treat black women? Because it's been said that other races know how to love
Well,
on black women.
I'll ask them next Monday. But Frank,
Mhm.
I already know the men. Most of the men that are on the panel on Monday nights, they've all said they would not. I probably was the only one, maybe one or two. None of the men will date outside their race. Absolutely, I remember when we talked about it. Do
Wow.
black women know how to treat black men as men?
Oh well, come on, Frank Ray. I would say yes.
Oh, man,
But, you know.
Frank said
I think you need to have a men and a women when the right one comes.
It's coming.
I agree.
Absolutely.
It's coming.
help us all.
Listen, that would have to be on Zoom with all of us.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So here's the other question: would you date a man who's a believer but not a church guy? Because there's a difference.
Yes.
Would you date a man
Yeah.
who's a believer, loves God, but he ain't going to church every Sunday? He gonna sit there and look at the game.
Absolutely.
Yes.
He loved God, but he's not going to church all the time, and he don't want to be praying all the time. He don't want to be hearing you speaking tongue all the time, but he loved God.
I would say,
Go ahead,
I
Anisha.
think in theory, I would say yes. But I've actually done that before. In my marriage, initially he was not. He did over the years, very early on in our marriage, but in the beginning he wasn't. And that was kind of an issue because I do, I'm a church girl, I guess. And so it was an issue at some point. He did love God, but, just the level of which my relationship is with God. And let me say, I don't think a man has to be at that same level, but I do think it's important that he understands the value of what I value. And so since that's a part of what I value, that's going to be important for me. So in theory, it sounds good, but for me, I'm gonna say in theory, I would say no. But when I really look at the experience, it just certain things just,
I'm saying,
you're having.
did your ex-husband at least know God? Did he believe in him?
So my ex-husband is Thai and Black.
Okay.
So when we got married, he really was not in church. Like it wasn't literally he is now, but literally it all was because of me. But in the beginning, no, he got saved, but he would come, he loved the Chicago Bears. So that was the early years in our marriage. If they were not playing, he would maybe come. If they were playing at a certain time, he may not. So it was a lot of that. So but after a while, thank God with prayer and all that good stuff that we wives do, he did see the value in it and he did get in church. Not only that, he was in ministry. So yeah, but I would just say in real life for me, it probably wouldn't work.
Okay. Short answers, y'all. Candace, would you date somebody who is a believer but don't go to church all the time? Yeah, I know where you came from, remember, so you got to remember that. Go ahead.
Yep. And guess what? I won't be there all the time either. It's a joint venture. We on one accord, period. We can stream together in our PJs.
Okay. So if he tell you it, well, I don't want to go there yet. Angelica, yes, no.
No, he doesn't. And I'm an evangelist. He doesn't have to go to church. We're in a virtual space. We can stream. I don't go to church every Sunday, so he ain't gotta go either. But as long as he believes in God and we can pray together, that's it.
So Bishop, maybe the question could be, since people are in virtual space, because I still do virtual sometimes too, is if they attend church at all, whether virtually or,
Yeah,
maybe, yeah.
Well, virtual just happened. So yeah, okay, right. Yeah. That. Dr. Eve.
Okay, so let me get this right. The question is, would I date someone or be with someone who does not go to church all the time?
He's a believer, but he ain't into all that organized religion thing. I don't want to be, you ain't gonna be dragging me to church all the time. We ain't gonna be praying all the time and all that. He's a believer though. He ain't going to hell. He ain't going to hell in your bed.
Yeah, yeah, I would. As long, yeah, I need that balance. So
Okay.
I would.
Nick, Dr. Nick.
Yes, I would. And on the Sundays, he doesn't want to go to church. I'm gonna sit beside him.
Stick beside him.
Because that's your man.
Because that's my man. So we not going to church today. I'm gonna stick my
That's
husband,
my
my
man.
husband.
And I'm gonna stick beside him.
And I'm gonna stick. We watching online today. I'm gonna stick beside him.
Sharon. So everybody pretty much saying yes.
Absolutely.
Well, I have a slightly, it's like it's okay for me. My man needs to be the spiritual head of our house. So I think it will depend on what that looks like. Like, does it mean that he's into it, but he's not really into it? Or does it mean,
What if he's spiritual?
I'm asking more questions.
No,
I'm very strong about this just because I've been in different situations and it didn't work for me. So I need him to be the spiritual head of my, over me. Okay. So it would depend on what that looks like, whether that's attendance is neither here nor there, but actually spiritual walk is two different things. So I'd have to kind of navigate that first before I say yes or no.
Okay. Coffee, you.
Absolutely. I don't equate spirituality with going to a building, if you will.
Frank, you killing me. Frank, you killing me. Go ahead.
I don't know how else to really say it, but I would actually be able to see, like Rachel said, his spirituality in action over the course of the experience. And of course, absolutely, so long as he literally is he's a spiritual man. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
So let me ask y'all, I got two more questions. We out of here. Do you think a woman can ask for too much in her expectations of a possible man? Do you think?
In there.
Hold on. Let me. Don't jump me. Like, with these lists and things, like maybe that's the reason why some women, not y'all, so don't jump on me, and even men are single because their expectations is too much. Go ahead, Anisha. Anisha.
Sorry, I couldn't unmute myself. I gotta have a touch screen to say it that way. So I don't think so. I think what you want is what you want. And I don't know if it was Angelica or somebody said, maybe it was Candace, that said sometimes you're not asking for too much, but maybe from the wrong person. So I just think it's important, just to be brief and not take a long time, to just make sure that whoever you're asking from, they're the right person. I think the right one will be able to facilitate your ask, ASK.
I'll jump in there with the ask. I think that it becomes too much if you're not willing to bring to the table what you have expected him to bring to the table. And we do have these lists. He has to be this, and this. And all I'm bringing is hips, lips, and fingertips. So like, that's not enough. Like, because after a while, when we get out of the bed, he wants partnership and he wants us to be able to grow this family. So I can't just lay on my back or whatever he would like me to do and not do something and bring something else to the table. So I believe that it becomes too much if I have this list, but I'm not even bringing half the list. I think that's unfair. I think that it's not right. I think that it does not show great integrity. And I think you're not going to keep that man if you're asking so much of him, but you don't have a balance at all. Your table that you're bringing is empty, but you want his table to be full. Then it becomes too much.
Go ahead, Dr. E. You raring to get in. Go ahead.
Yes, I am. First of all, I need to know what a possible man is. That
You
that
mean,
sounded car a
how,
game of
you want to read it again?
four
It's
in the
very good.
possible, two in the possible, three
Do
spades
you
and five
think, let me
clubs.
read it, let me read it again. Do you think a woman can ask for too much in her expectation of a possible man? The man that's the possibility, meaning you don't have it yet. It's a possibility.
No. And I think it depends on who the woman is and where she is in her life, right? Because we're not all at the same place at the same time, and her experiences may constitute or dictate her asking for certain things or expecting certain things, right? Here's what my mama used to say. She said, "Listen, you got to have a man with more than breath and britches." Right? So if all you're bringing to the table is breath and britches, what am I going to do with you, especially with all the things that I have going on? And not to say that he has to be equivalent to me. However, there are some areas where he should be greater than you, and vice versa. I think sometimes because so many have accepted the least, we're expected to expect the least as well. When you get into a relationship, people should be challenging you to be your greatest self, not your mediocre self. And this is Dr. Eve. These are my thoughts.
Bishop, can I jump in really quick right there?
Mm-hmm.
This is what I'll say. I will say an unhealthy, unhealed woman will ask for too much because she has the wrong or the perceived misunderstanding concerning what her desires are and what her wants are. So she's unfortunately unable to ask to Anisha's point, the right and the appropriate things, and she has the wrong expectations because she's unhealed. I think a lot of times when you're talking about expectations in relationships and the reason why they hit well or show up or manifest well in relationships, because people are asking things that first, to Dr. Nick's point, they can't provide, but also asking for stuff that they realistically don't even believe is possible. Unhealed folks don't believe that true unconditional love is possible. Unhealed folks don't believe that non-confrontational but direct communication can occur in relationships. Unhealed folks don't believe that you can come together and bring 100% and 100% to the table. Unhealed folks are selfish and self-centered. So therefore, in my opinion, now this is just Shira Lowe speaking, in my opinion, they don't ask the right things nor have the right expectations because they're doing it or filtering it through literally an inappropriate, unhealed lens. So for the sake of time, I'll stop there. But I don't believe that unhealed women or men can show up in a relationship space in a healthy way and ask for anything that's realistic or can be fulfilled because they're not asking it through the right lens with the right perception. So thank you for allowing me to share, Bishop.
Who wants to go?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Rachel.
Yeah, no worries. I think that it goes back to one of your questions you presented to us earlier about what have we learned about ourselves, what have we learned about relationships, and I think that with those two answers, we're able to know what to do in this situation where if you know by your history, this is what you need ABC, and when you're in relationship, CDE happens, but yet you're asking for JHI, then you are clearly asking the wrong thing because you're misaligned. If we go for all our relationships and we don't understand who we are as a person and what we bring to relationships, as well as what our triggers are and all those kind of things, then that's where the misalignment comes apart, which is what the other ladies have already shared. And I think that that's the issue, is that number one, you're not in touch with who you truly are. Number two, you're not in touch with your true desires. And number three, you haven't done the work on figuring out everything it is that you actually need, as well as what it is that you have to offer. Because so many times, like it has been shared, women are asking men to do ABC, but one of my favorite things to ask is, are you your type's type? So the accountability always comes back onto me. What is it that Rachel is doing in order to prepare herself and be available and be in the way of, in the way of that type of man so that he sees me? And am I even the woman that he's looking for? So once those two things are in alignment, then I don't believe that we'll ever be asking for too much. But a lot of the times I find that women, we're not actually prepared. We think that we're just enough, like Dr. Nick said, like you're just enough because you're pretty. Pretty privilege is real. So I'm not going to discount that, because every one of these women on this live are stunning. Pretty privilege is a real thing, and I'm never ever going to downplay that, because I think we should always elevate that. However, there are other things that we also need to be working on. Outside and inside are both valuable. So that's my points on that.
Who else was going?
I think we can ask for too much. I think, I mean, I'll just speak for me. I've done a lot in the past where I was like, girl, you really, and even if it was something that I could provide, like, you know, for example, being college educated, everybody not going to go to college. Everybody doesn't have the discipline and the stamina to make it through. And for me to require that of someone just because I was able to do it is unfair, you know? So I think women can ask for a lot. And I think healthy women can ask for a lot too. And I think all the answers were great and phenomenal. But I do think that, you know, and I'm not talking about the basic things like, you know, hey, communicate. Hey, don't punch holes in the wall. Hey, get a job. That's not asking for too much, right? But sometimes we want men to have conversations and miss the game because we want to talk. That's doing a lot. You know, you'll live. Just give them that time, come back later, circle back around. Sometimes we want men to go for those 6-figure positions and he's happy being an entrepreneur. You met him that way. So, you know, stop. So I think we can, in short, just for the sake of time, I'll just end it there. But I think we can.
I agree. Our expectations can definitely get the best of us when we expect more than what's realistic in the situation. Every situation comes with a different set of scenarios. There's no two people that are exactly the same. You're not going to find two individuals doing the exact this there. So you have to go by the situation as it pertains to that particular person in that time and what's transpiring in that connection with that person. So you may say, well, I expect for him to have a home, where this guy may not be focused on a home in this part of his life. He may be focused on something different. He may have a mom who's sick or something like that, and he has to pour in his extra assets to make sure that his mom is taken care of in a nursing home. So that's an extreme scenario, but it's a real one. So expectations can get totally out of control when it's not realistic to that situation, that person in that time. We can't just put it all in the bag and say, okay, everything has to be There's no such thing as that. No person is exactly the same. So we do have to adapt our expectations to accommodate the situation that we find ourselves in, if we find value with that person and if we deem that to be a person that we're willing to negotiate our terms and conditions, not our values, not our morals, not our stance. But if it's a valuable person, then the conditions that we may necessarily have on paper, it may have to be tweaked to accommodate based on that particular relationship. So we have to be open. We have to be open as it pertains to the quote unquote list. And I'll also say this, Bishop, and I know this is going to be a little bit different, but I say when you don't have expectations, you won't be disappointed. Sometimes we have these big things up here and the person can't get there. So we end up disappointed because the scale gets tipped based on what we feel that person, kind of like what Candace said about he need to have a degree and all that, the scale will get a little bit tipped. So I say, yeah, we can definitely have unrealistic expectations when it does not meet with the reality that we're experiencing in that moment.
Dr. Amy,
Are
yes,
we saying that all women are like
hold on, Dr. Dr. Amy, yes, you all can ask questions. Put them in now so that when Dr. Eve finishes, I can ask them. I'm trying not to go past 11. Go ahead, Dr. Eve.
So I just need to just go back a little bit, because all the women, it sounds like all the women have said pretty much the same thing, except I, of course. So are we are we inferring that all women are broken and are expecting men to do something so great beyond reality, or that all men are not in a place where they are whole or not completely stable? Because you do know that all women are not the same. There's some women who are not demanding, and they're just in a place in their life where they're stable, they're in a certain place in their life, and they do have realistic expectations. They're whole, they are secure, they're emotionally stable. So what about those women? Can we speak to some of them too? Because everybody is not broken.
And I think Shara spoke to that whenever she said, Shara spoke to, I believe, Shara, you spoke to that when you talked about a whole woman will have realistic expectations. So I think Shara spoke to that.
And I think we're also talking about women who are far and extreme with their expectations, going back to what I initially said about what you're not bringing to the table, right? We're not expecting, and I don't think there has to be an expectation of, if I bring A, B, and C, you bring A, B, and C, but you can't ask a man to bring A through X and all you're bringing is A through C. Now, and that's what I'm talking about when we're talking about unrealistic expectations. But I think that women should have expectations. Of course, even beyond the basics, there should be, whatever you want is what you want. But at the same time, you have to ask yourself, like, sis, really, what are you bringing to make this make sense? Like, make it make sense. So not about even about your traumas or your brokenness. It's about making it make sense and actually, being fair in what your ask is, because there's nothing wrong with having a list and there's nothing wrong with having an ask, but make it make sense.
But also, I think I have a slightly different kind of view on the whole asking for something that you don't also have, because I think that we're meant to be, in my opinion, this is just me though, I know I have a different opinion, that it's meant to be more complementary. So we don't necessarily have to bring the same things to the table, but we bring things that match. So even if that person has a degree and you don't, that's okay, because you bring other things to the situation. So that's kind of like where I'm at on that topic. But I do like.
Right, that's what I just said.
I agree with you.
If you don't have A, B, C, I don't have to bring A, B, and C, and you bring A, B, and C, the exact same things. But we need to be compatible and make it make sense, because we're not going to always have the same thing. Like, I'm coming with multiple degrees, but maybe you don't have the degrees, but you do have experience and expertise that can take us far beyond my degrees ever could. So, make it make sense in that capacity.
So let me speak for some men. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't going to throw this grenade in there, especially at the end. But y'all have heard the men say before that the women are asking for things and they can't cook. They won't clean. They won't do domestic things, and they expect the man that has money, but they don't want to cook, they don't want to clean, and possibly can't, and they want to come off jobs. And so is that a realistic expectation? I'm not talking about y'all, because I think sometimes we take it personal. I'm not talking about y'all. Okay, I'm talking about some other women. What do y'all say to that? In short, because we got to end.
I think in that instance, Bishop, go ahead. I'll go after you.
So I want to say about our list. Like, we have to also evaluate our list, because we're always evolving. And so for that person, like, you have to be fair and you have to be balanced. Like, you asked that question about preachers, and when I first made my list, I wanted a preacher. Now I don't want one. Like, I don't want a person in that role. And so we have to be fair with our list, because we're ever evolving. Now, to answer your question about the expectation from men about not cooking and things like that, I can cook, but do I want to cook? No, I want to have.
Let me say this: take yourselves out of it. Just make a joke. Take yourselves out of it.
So, I think all the ladies have answered that. I think the fairness and the compatibility. I mean, women ask for one thing, men may want one thing. I think you just got to find what's the best thing for you when it comes down to your list. Like, every situation don't work for everybody, and every relationship ain't cookie cutter. So I don't want to say this is the end all be all for mine. I'm just going to say that just do what works best for you.
And I think, to answer your question, Bishop, I think a woman can't ask too much. But I will say she could be asking too much. And again, I'll say from the wrong person. I mean, there may be a man who, and that's why I said initially, whatever your ASK is, and I was speaking from a healthy, whole, healed woman when I said that. But I do think there will be some men who I use this term, love you enough. He'll love you enough to where you want this, and he may desire that you cook, but he's willing for you to maybe order, have a chef or have certain meals brought in. He loves you enough to do that. And equally, I do believe in flexibility. So I would say to that woman who says, I want all these things, what are you willing to give as well? What are you willing to be flexible in? I think when we do have a list, we have to be clear. I do think you want to make sure you have most things on your list. I would say 70, 75%. And I say that because some things you grow together and it becomes more of what you want. But I would say if it's 70, 75%, we can work on the 25. So what I do think you can ask for too much, but I would say maybe you might be asking the wrong person. Now I will say, if you're asking from a place of ego, like I'm fine, I'm this, I'm that, I make this amount of money, so you need to come with this, then I think you're coming from the wrong place. You're not coming from a real, I want to have a healthy relationship space. And so in that instance, you're absolutely asking for too much.
I agree with Anisha 100% in terms of if you're asking the wrong person. I believe a lot of times that there is variance in an inability to fulfill the ask and the list or the desires and the wants because you're asking the wrong person. I remember I was recently in a conversation with a gentleman, very kind gentleman. And one of the things, he's a professional and I'm a professional. So he understands that even though I can cook, I'm not coming home cooking. So he was like, why would I require that of you? If we had a relationship, why would I require that of you when we can both afford to bring in a housekeeper or a maid or a cook or a chef in order to do that? He was like, I'm not doing that. So I believe also, and like I said, I agree with Anisha in reference to, you may be asking the wrong person. Dr. Eve even said that you may just be asking the wrong individual. That's why it's so imperative and important for us in relationships to have compatibility. True compatibility and also synergy. Synergy says that we don't do the same thing, but we can flow the same way. We have the same mindset. We have the same approach. We have the same thought. And like I said all the time, just because we can do it, and you guys know this, not to get into scripture, but just because we can do it, that doesn't mean it's expedient. That doesn't mean it's lawful. If we're both getting off of work very late, we both have these high level performing careers, just because we can do it, meaning can cook, but we may want to actually use that energy that we have at the end of the day to spend time together and really have some amazing, intimate time versus, us trying to cook a meal. So we can have somebody come in, chef that meal up while we're making, so anyway, that being said, I love everyone.
While we're making.
Yes, while we're making. While we're creating and making.
It's the intimate time for me, Shira. It's the intimate.
That's right. So you have to understand, the compatibility and the synergy in the relationship in order for it to actually thrive and be successful. So that's what I'll say. I'll add that, share.
And Bishop, if a guy wants a woman that has domestic qualities, it's interesting, Anisha brought that up when she said they may be asking the wrong person, but if they believe that that person is the right quote unquote one, then there are so many opportunities for her to be taught those things. Is she teachable? Is she open to being taught? Is she open to learning? That's the bigger question. So if a person is open to learning, I think that they can make application, even if they don't really want to do it. They can be honest and forthcoming and say, this is something that I really don't want to do. However, I see where it adds value to you and it's something that you like. So I don't mind learning. Nonetheless, don't look at me when I learned this, don't look at me to be doing this all the time. I'm willing to learn and do it from time to time, but please don't place a demand on me for execution. Give me that space to still be able to say, can we order out? Can we do this? Can we do that? Or, can we have a housekeeper to come in the interim, maybe bi-weekly? Can we have a housekeeper as opposed to me totally cleaning this, the property on a continuous basis? I honestly don't like to clean. So if she's teachable and open and willing to negotiate, then yeah, that would be a healthy resolve for him to still get what he wants out of the equation. Yet we go back to what Anisha said. He simply might be asking the wrong person. If she doesn't want to do it, you can't force it. So he might have to adjust and find somebody else that is teachable and wants to add value to him in that capacity.
And don't forget to also state your claim at the beginning. Don't what you call Bishop, bait and switch.
Right.
And also your terms and conditions. Those terms and conditions.
Don't switch up. Yeah.
State your claim in the beginning, and that's for both men and women. If she may be beautiful, she may have it going on in the professional field and all of that, but she has no domestic engineer qualities or characteristics that are pleasing to you. These are things that should be discussed from the very beginning. And ladies, don't be afraid to say up front some of your do's and your don'ts. So then that way there won't be additional expectations from him as well. I think sometimes we go in without our head and we go in with our heart and forget that there's several other things that come in a relationship that play a major factor in that relationship being successful.
So you all, it's after 11 and this has been amazing. Like the ladies hit it out the park tonight. And I need you all to let's be a blessing tonight to them, just like we do to the men. And I just need 40 people. If 40 people would just give $25, it's like you're at an event, It's like you're at an event. This is TV now. Somebody told me I need to get a TV guide because of all the different shows that I do. And that might be true, but this is the space that we in, and it's going to be the space for a minute the way things are going. So if you all could tonight, these women have poured out, especially toward the end, the things that they gave you. They're sharing their own. I mean, it was some stuff shared tonight that just took courage. Coffee and Angelica, just all of the women. And so if you were in a coaching session, it would be more than $25. I could make it real spooky and deep, but it's not, y'all. When you give, you show value for what you just got. And I'm used to the numbers going down when you start talking about giving because we want stuff for free. But the information is up. $ Greg Davis 10. There are some of you that would say I'm gonna give $100 tonight because this is I'm going to invest in relationship. I'm going to invest in relationship. If I could just get like 5 men that's watching to give $100 tonight, just 5 men, just like the women do when the men are watching, and the numbers are going down, of course, because we want stuff for free. And that's what bothers me about our community. We want stuff for free. We could have made this a master's class, as Anisha said. We could have made this a master's class, but I trust you enough. So tonight, those of you that would do that and give, okay, Nikki, I hear you. That would give that $25 on tonight. Greg Davis 10. PayPal is contactgregdavis@gmail.com. And on and on and on. The information is there. So if you all would give tonight, I would appreciate it. Give to what is uniquely ours. The ladies spent 2 hours of their time tonight, and we want to be a blessing to them on tonight. All right. So let's make it happen, y'all. Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. Let's give on tonight. And I want to call some names as you're giving on tonight. If you can give $25, I would appreciate it. Thank you, Mary. I appreciate you. Mary Nicole. Thank you, Dr. Ruby Washington. Appreciate you on tonight as you all are giving. Thank you so much. Also, you can give by, thank you, Michael Claiborne. Thank you, Wanda McKinney. Appreciate it. You can give Venmo, Greg Davis 10. Thank you, Vivian Swenson, tonight. Appreciate you for your giving on tonight. Appreciate you for your giving on tonight. I want to appreciate Marlinda. She's been with me since Sunday night with the Prophets, and then Monday night with the men, and tonight she's back with me, pushing all the buttons behind the scene. AW Enterprise, thank you on tonight. Come on, y'all. Let's make this budget tonight. Let's make this budget tonight. And the way you decide, you say, Bishop, I love the stuff that you do. The way it's like in anything else, is you show whether you appreciate it. And if you want me to keep doing it, then you got to help me make the budget. Broderick Rice, thank you, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Appreciate the men standing up. Appreciate the men standing up on tonight. Broderick, text Frank and tell him to send me an offering. Come on, let's do this. I still need about 30 of y'all tonight. About 30 of you all tonight that would do that. 30 of you all more that would do that on tonight as you giving. Thank you, Christopher. About to give Sabrina Jordan. Thank you. Appreciate you, Sabrina. Thank you, Elise. Appreciate you on tonight. Thank you. Let's keep it going, y'all. I's got to go fall asleep on the couch. Keep on giving on tonight. Ladies, anybody got something coming up while they are giving on tonight that you want to announce?
I do. Hey guys, it's Dr. Nick. Usually I would say it's Dr. Nick in the red chair and the white suit, but on tonight it's Dr. Nick with the pink background. And I'd like to let you know that on tomorrow night, I will be having a masterclass, seminar, talk, event. So you can know that the title is Successfully Single and Kept Part 2, the summer edition. What we are doing is we are having part 2 from the Valentine's Day edition, helping women to take the negative stigma off of being single. Yes, you can be successfully single. You can be happy about being single, and actually you can work your greatness and become even greater in your season of singleness. Maybe you are single by chance, or maybe like me, you are single by choice. And I love it here. And I want to be able to help you to love it here while you're here in this single season. So we're going to be discussing minding our body, minding our business, minding our mind, body, and soul, our finances, and minding our potential love life. So if you're interested, there is a link in my bio on Instagram. You can go and you can register, and I will be sending out, I sent out credentials today. I'll be sending out credentials again tomorrow. So I would love to have you. It's going to be so much fun. I'm going to be pouring out my heart. You're going to be hearing some great stories from some other women who are successfully single, and some who are single and who are not happy about it, but we're going to get them to change their minds about it. So that's tomorrow night, Successfully Single and Kept Part 2, the summer edition with your girl, Dr. Nick, tonight in the white chair and the pink background. Thank you, Bishop.
Thank you, Christopher. Thank you, Dr. Nick. Thank you for Christopher. Thank you, Candace, Alisa, and Frank Ray. I appreciate you. Who else? Y'all keep on giving. I need 25 more y'all to give that $25, please. Some of you can give 100. You got $100 worth of information and more. So please, if you want me to keep doing this kind of stuff, you got to support it. I just don't want to take people's time. I want to be able to buy them a Starbucks tomorrow or
something.
What's that other coffee? Yeah. Go. Who else got something?
Duncan?
Yeah, that.
Caribou.
hear that. Go ahead.
So tomorrow night, I have a live boutique show that will air on Facebook on my page. It's called Beautiful Boss Boutique. Beautiful Boss Boutique, and we do giveaways every single show. We had an amazing show on Monday night, and we gave away a lot of good bling. All right, so if you know anybody in the whole wide world that loves affordable, exquisite accessories, the look that I'm wearing is $10 investment. Earrings and the necklace is a $10 investment. So if you know anyone that loves affordable, gorgeous, high quality accessories, definitely connect with me. I have men and ladies, and we're getting ready to tap into children's accessories as well on Beautiful Boss Boutique right here on the Book of Faces. You can actually follow and share and like the page. When you actually follow, share, and like the page, private message me the word done, and you'll be entered into a drawing to receive 25 free pieces of accessories at the end of this month. You heard me, 25 free pieces of accessories just for liking, sharing, and following Beautiful Boss Boutique. So I'll see you guys tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern, from my Beautiful Boss Boutique page. Love and blessings. Thank you, Bishop.
So, hey, everybody, Dr. Eve here. I am teaming up with Joe Global, and we are doing what's called the Power of Sex. We're going to be discussing all things sex, love, and everything in between, spiritual, natural, and emotional. When I tell you, you do not want to miss this. August 25th at 7 o'clock p.m. is when it will begin, an all virtual space. Right now, we have open pre-registration. For that pre-registration, let me tell you what you are going to get. You are going to get 2 days, not just one, but two. You will be entitled to 2 days until August 5th. So you need to go online to www.prepareme2021.com. Prepare me to do what? Prepare me for marriage, of course. Whether you are single or married, this masterclass and seminar is for you. 2 days, one price for the pre-registration. Again, it's www.prepareme2021.com. Not only are we going to be talking about sex, but we are going to tell you exactly how the body works. Woo! Some people don't even know their own bodies, but baby, let me tell you, when you attend this masterclass, this seminar, this all access conclave, I promise you, you will know all things your body, all things sex, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. You don't want to miss this. Again, go visit us online at www.prepareme2021.com. We actually have 3 packages, but you got to go online to check them out, okay? I love y'all. I can't wait to see you. Make sure you get that order in by August 5th for all access. After that, you have to do it separately. Oh, God, you don't want to miss it. And we also have what's called a pleasure package. DM me for details. I love you, and I love you. All right, I'm done.
Good stuff, ladies. So, as you all know, on October the 15th and 16th, When the Right One Comes is coming to Atlanta with Bishop Greg Davis, myself, and When the Right One Comes family. A lot of these beautiful women will be along with us as well. It's going to be a great weekend. And I know that there have already been lots of registration. And so Friday night, it's going to be the mixer. It's going to be a good time, music, food, all the things, conversation. You get a chance to talk with us, take pictures, eat food. I guess I said that already. So lots of great fun. That particular night is only $50, and this is for the early bird registration. It's $50. If you decide, hey, I want to be there on Saturday from 12 to 4 when we're doing the relationship talk, will be Q&A. There will be no questions that'll be off limits. It's going to be very good stuff. That is going to be $79. But if you decide, hey, I want to be with y'all both days, October 15th and 16th, then you definitely want to make sure you pick the $99 option. You can go to, hopefully I get this out, Bishop. I want to say, and Angelica probably knows too. Is it WTROC?
It's at
Oh,
the
it's at the
bottom,
bottom.
Anisha. You ain't got to struggle with it.
Where'd it go?
WTROC Tour.
There it is. Okay.
It's right there.
WTROC Tours. at Eventbrite.com. 15th and 16th in Atlanta, Georgia. Only 50 seats at that price. I know they're going really quickly, so you want to make sure that you go to the link and grab up your tickets, and we will see you in Atlanta.
All right.
And so,
anybody else? Go ahead.
So while y'all getting y'all tickets for when the right one y'all come shop with Style 7 so I can get y'all cute, covered, and classy for the Atlanta event. I have sizes small to 4X, so I got something for everybody. New inventory will be loading this Friday, okay? So shop www.style7sebyn.com and get your outfit. I specialize, if y'all follow me, y'all know I love to dress. So if you need some help with putting that look together, I can help you, and I can do it with pieces from my boutique. So make sure you shop with me. Also, every Monday through Saturday, right here on Facebook, I do coffee conversations. Come have coffee with a friend, and we talk about the entrepreneur mindset right here on Facebook at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Saturday. So I would love to see you in the morning. Come have a cup of coffee with me, your friend, talking about entrepreneur mindset. Thank you, Bishop.
Oh, can I jump in here really quickly? I'm sorry. We have one of our other sisters who's not here on stage with us, but a few of us will be on her stage in her virtual space. It's called Wife Talk with Lady Katrina Tillman, and I did not want to miss this opportunity to share that as well. It's on July 31st from 7 p.m. until 9 p.m. Oh my goodness, it's an after-hours conversation for all the wives to be, the wives that should have been, the wife that is a wife but is not his wife. Yeah, you can't miss it. Go to www.sheministries.net. Again, that's www.sheministries.net for all the wives, all the wannabe wives, all the should be wives, all the could be wives. When you become a wife, just go ahead on over to www.sheministries.net. Love y'all. Thank you.
Yes, and I wanted to share as well, Candice and I, as well as Ernest, Corey, Dwayne, and Josh, will be having a seminar. We had such a good time in our seminar last week, I think it was. So we've got another one coming up called Try It Before You Buy It, where we're having the hard conversations around sex, communication, finances, business, spirituality, everything.
Jacking up, all of it.
Yep.
Anything that you can try before you buy. We are
Absolutely.
diving in, discussing it. We're going in. So we definitely want you to be a part. Rachel, you still have it in your bio?
Yes, I do. And I've put it in the comments as well on the live as well.
Awesome. Yep. So hang out with us. We're going to get together and have a tough conversation. People are going to do what they want to do anyway. So let's talk about it and talk about it respectfully, responsibly. Come hang out with us.
And really quick, Bishop, I will be launching my website for my professional and career development coaching by the end of this month, end of July. I've received a lot of mentees and individuals that I've coached in the professional and the career space. And now I am going full launch with my website. So I will have it now that my graphics design and team and all of that is back from out of town. But I will be launching it by the end of this month so everyone can be able to see the outlines of the packages and the things that I am actually offering in connection with some of the things I've been doing in the Clubhouse space and the social media space. So I want to help individuals develop their professional career and their professional portfolio so that they can grow into successful 6-figure, 7-figure earners and be a wonderful, amazing, contributing individuals in society, in their families, in their churches. I believe that God gives seed to the sower and bread to the eater. So you can literally be a blessing to other people. So people need to be able to be developed and honed and promoted and grown in the professional and career space. And so if you have a profession or a career that you say that you feel like you have maxed out and you want to go to the next level, or you want to transition into a successful entrepreneur, I will be launching my website by the end of this month, end of July, so that you guys can reach out. Thank you to all of those individuals that have allowed me to coach and mentor you thus far. It's been amazing. And we're going to take you to another level. So if you already are connected with me, stay connected. But if you're not, reach out to me on actual Instagram or Facebook under Shira Lowe. I want to make sure that you achieve success in the professional and the career space. So thank you so much. God bless you.
And again, make sure you invest in yourselves. All their information is there. Screenshot it. If you find an event or 2 or 3 or 4, all of them you want to go to, you got the budget to do it. Take your phone and scroll. What's that? Bishop, my mom gives you. Okay. Make sure that you screenshot all of the events and get more information and support. Again, invest in yourself in the relationship area. All right, ladies, thank you all again, everybody, for watching. We're going to be giving information up for about 5 minutes, and we will see you next time. Good evening. Good night. Goodbye. Hasta la vista.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. You're amazing. We love you. We love you.
Thank you, Bishop, for having us today.
Yes, thanks for having us.
You're the rock. You're the real MVP, Bishop.
He's the goat. He's the goat. He's the goat.
He's the goat.
And we're going to stand beside him. We're going to stand beside him.
We're going to stand beside him.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, Mommy. Thanks for being here, Mommy. I love you. Dr. Ruby Washington.
All right. Good night, y'all.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah.
Good night, y'all.
Good night, y'all. Good night. Blessings, y'all.
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Love y'all.
Blessings. Love y'all.
God bless you all. Love you all. Thank you.
Some peace. Good night, y'all. See y'all next time.